Good morning students. Welcome to E-Suvidya. Hope you all are doing well. Students, in the previous class, we have completed the chapter, the jackal and the rooster. So today, I am going to summing up the theme of the chapter and we will also do some activities based on this chapter. So students, as we have learned this chapter, so one important thing is what moral we have learned from this chapter. We have learned a moral that we must know or we should know when to shut our mouths and when to close or open our eyes. So this is the important moral that we have learned from the chapter. So I am writing the moral of the story. So, children, we have learned that we should know when to shut our mouths and to close or open our eyes. You must have heard about the story of the swan and the tortoise, and you have already known that how the untimely opening of the mouth of the tortoise cost his life. So in this story, we have also learned that we have to control our mouth. Sometimes people think whenever someone maintains silence, some people think that he or she is weak. For this reason, he is maintaining silence. But one important thing is, if you can't understand my silence, if you cannot understand me. That means you have to understand the silence of an individual, and you have to learn the skill of maintaining silence, and you have to speak up when it requires. An untimely opening of the mouth may lead to a great loss in your life. So, for this reason, it is rightly told, think before you speak. Think before you speak. So, we can prove this from the context of this chapter. By taking this chapter into consideration, we can prove this, that whenever we are going to opening our mouth, we have to think. And without thinking, we should not open our mouth. As we have seen in the case of the rooster, as we have seen in the case of the jackal, what we have seen? That the jackal was already at the climax or at the end point of his success. But at the final point, he just opened his mouth. And when he opened his mouth, then automatically the rooster escaped from the mouth of the jackal. So for this reason, the jackal has to repent for opening the mouth. And also in the end of the story, you have seen that the rooster had the last laugh. Rooster had the last laugh means when two individuals are fighting with each other, at the end, the person who wins had the last laugh. And you see that in the initial stage, that the rooster blindly followed the jackal. He do not know that when to close the eyes and when to open the eyes. The rooster do not have the judging power to when to close the eyes or when to open the eyes. For this reason, he has to repent. He was already at the mouth of the jackal and just going to sacrifice his life for his mistake. So we have to know an important thing, that we must not follow someone blindly. And whenever we are taking an important decision, we have to go for self-introspection. By self-introspection means we have two eyes, but besides these two eyes, we have a third inner eye. What is the third inner eye? The third inner eye is the eye that remains in our soul. We have to listen the voice of the soul. The voice of the soul. So it is called self-introspection. It is called self-judgment. So in the story we have seen the rooster do not have any self-judging power. The rooster followed blindly the roaster followed blindly the words of the jackal. So automatically for this reason it has to depend. So students, we have learned the important lesson or important moral from this chapter, the jackal and the roaster, that we should know when to shut our mouth and also we should know when to close and open our eyes. So students, now we are going to do some activities based on this chapter. Students, in the sense group paragraph 1, we have studied that the roaster sings better, louder and clearer. And he knew it very well that his song is much better than the other roasters in the locality. But he wants to make his song still better, louder and clearer. So you see, I am repeating the word louder, clearer, better, or better, louder, clearer. These are called the comparative form of the adjectives. These are called the comparative form of the adjectives. Take for example, the roaster wants to make his song better. The original or the initial adjective is the good, and better is the comparative form of the adjective good. So let us see some examples of, let us do an activity based on comparative and superlative forms. So comparative and superlative degrees. We are going to discuss the comparative and the superlative degrees. So children, we have seen the first line of the sense group paragraph 1. We have seen that there was a big and handsome roaster. The term big. Let us discuss what is a comparative adjective and what is a superlative adjective. Then we will go for comparative and superlative adjective forms. Comparative adjectives. Comparative adjectives compare one noun to another. Comparative adjectives compare one noun to another. So, take for example, when one noun is compared with another, we tell this as a comparative adjectives. Take for example, suppose we tell Madhu is an intelligent student. But we tell Gopal is more intelligent. Gopal is more intelligent. So here we have made a comparison between Madhu and Gopal. So comparative adjective, compare one noun to another noun. Okay, so already you know that noun is a naming word. It may be the name of a person, place, animal or thing. Okay, so noun are the naming words. It may be the name of the person, place, animal or thing. Take for example, Ganga is a holy river. So here Ganga is a noun. It is the name of a river. It is a proper noun. So let us see what is a superlative adjective. Superlative adjectives compare three or more nouns. Superlative adjectives compare three or more nouns. Three or more nouns, or one noun against a group of nouns. One noun against a group of nouns. So students, these are the comparative and superlative degrees. So we know comparative adjective generally compare one noun to another noun, whereas superlative adjective compare three or more nouns, or one noun against a group of nouns. Take for example, when I am telling that Madhu is the best student in the class, that means I have compared Madhu with all the students in the class, and after that we have drawn the conclusion that he is the best student in the class. Whenever I am telling that Mount Everest is the highest mountain in the world, you know, we have compared all the mountain peaks. We have compared all the mountain peaks and we have drawn the conclusion that Everest is the highest peak in the world. This is the superlative form. Okay. So we know whenever we are telling about superlative forms, we make comparison with 3 or more nouns, or we make comparison of one noun against group of nouns. Then we draw the conclusion that it is a superlative noun. So let us again go back to the sense group paragraph 1 of the chapter, the roster and the jackal. The jackal and the roster. And there we have seen some words are there. We have to find out the comparative and superlative forms of this, or comparative and superlative degree of these adjectives. Students, we have written the 3 forms. Comparative, first one is the positive or initial adjective, second one is the comparative adjective, third one is the superlative adjective. First line of the chapter tells that there was a big and handsome rooster. The first word is big. So the comparative form is bigger, and the superlative form is biggest. Okay, so the first one is big. Second, you see there was a big and handsome rooster. Handsome. The second one is handsome. We have already discussed what is the meaning of handsome. Handsome means good looking or beautiful. Handsome means good looking or beautiful. So here is a slightly difference. Okay, we do not have to follow the same principle where we are writing the comparative form. Here handsome, more handsome, most handsome. More handsome than most handsome. We have told handsome means good looking or beautiful. So let us take the third word, beautiful. Beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. More beautiful, most beautiful. Okay, so beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. Then other words, the jackal want to make his sound louder, clearer and better. So the word better, let us see. The word better. Better has come from the initial word good. It has come from the initial word good. And all of you know good, better, best. Its antonymy bad, worst. Then second one is the loud. Loud, louder, loudest. Then clear, clearer, clearest. And also there was a great and handsome rooster. Great, greater, greatest. So children, today we have discussed about the comparative and superlative degrees of various adjectives. So already we have studied the chapter the jackal and the rooster. So here are some homeworks for you. So you go through the chapter thoroughly, read at least 2-3 times, and try to use the adjectives into comparative and superlative forms, and also try to make the sentence of your own. Thank you. Have a nice day. See you in the next class.